From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. This is Dateline Malacañang in review. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Monday departed for a 5-day state visit to India to strengthen bilateral cooperation with one of Asia's robust economies. The president's visit to India is at the invitation of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. In his departure speech, President Marcos described India as a valued friend of the Philippines, citing centuries-old cultural ties dating back to pre-colonial times. President Marcos said his trip caps the year-long celebration of the 75th anniversary of the Philippines-India diplomatic relations. The chief executive emphasized shared democratic values, maritime interest, and regional peace as the foundation for deeper, broader, and more meaningful bilateral cooperation. The Philippine president said the Philippines and India share a commitment to upholding international maritime law, including the 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea or UNCLOS and the 2016 Arbitral Award favoring the Philippines over China. In anticipation of his visit, the Philippines announced visa-free entry for Indian travelers to boost tourism. President Marcos said he would personally lead a business delegation to New Delhi and Bengaluru to meet industry leaders, particularly in the information technology sector.
Our bilateral relations have seen a measured and stable development that is both comprehensive in scope and multifaceted in nature. I traveled to India knowing that our commonalities will lead us to a deeper, broader, more meaningful bilateral cooperation, both in the immediate future and up to our longer-term horizons, that will ultimately serve the peace, the stability, and prosperity for our two nations and the wider Indo-Pacific region. I have with me several cabinet secretaries who will make certain that the vision of a close strategic relationship with India will turn into a reality as soon as possible, as we make our commitments at the highest levels of government and of business. I will personally lead a business delegation to New Delhi and Bengaluru to meet with the captains of their industries, especially in the IT sector, to explore potential investment opportunities for both sides. I want this visit to bring concrete benefits to the people, such as more affordable medicine and greater connectivity and food security. It is incumbent upon us, now more than ever, to maximize the opportunities in trade and investment with the world's fourth largest economy.
Several Indian multinational companies already operate in the Philippines, including in the Information Technology Business Process Management or ITBPM sector, pharmaceutical, and telecommunications. Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin will serve as government caretaker during President Marcos's trip, along with Education Secretary Sani Angara and Agrarian Reform Secretary Conrado Estrella III.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, soon after his arrival at the Palam Air Force Station in New Delhi, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. began his 5-day state visit to the Republic of India with a meeting with the Filipino community at the Taj Mahal Hotel. In his speech, the president announced that the Philippines and India are set to elevate their bilateral relations to a strategic partnership. The formal launch of the upgraded partnership would be held on Tuesday during President Marcos's bilateral meeting with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, a highlight of his first official visit to India and the culmination of 75 years of diplomatic relations between the two nations. President Marcos noted India's growing economic influence and strategic relevance in the Indo-Pacific, underscoring opportunities in investments, defense cooperation, and people-to-people exchanges, including direct flights and visa-free entry for Indian tourists. The chief executive also announced the upcoming signing of a social security agreement between the two countries.
For 7.5 decades, we have had excellent relations with India. But tomorrow, this relationship is going to receive a major boost, a major upgrade, as the Prime Minister and I inaugurate a strategic partnership between the Philippines and India. This means that from now on, our cooperation will intensify further and become even more impactful in many, many areas that we had not explored with India before, such as defense, trade and investment, health, tourism, other areas. In the coming days, our delegation will be engaging not only the government of Prime Minister Modi, but also India's biggest enterprises. We would like to see them invest more and generate more jobs back home. We are bridging and facilitating travel and people-to-people ties between us. Last year, our embassy launched the e-visa, which greatly eased the visa process. But we didn't stop there. We launched the visa-free entry scheme for Indian tourists last June. These will be complemented soon by the recovery of direct flights led by Air India. We are determined to expand this to other carriers and to link other cities between the Philippines and India. Certainly, our administration is committed to looking after your broader welfare. Even as we do not have a migrant workers office or MWO in India, your welfare and rights are steadfastly looked after by our government through our embassy, with the assistance of our honorary consulates general in Chennai, Mumbai, and Kolkata. You will be pleased to know that as part of this visit, we will also sign the social security agreement between Philippines and India.
While in India, President Marcos Jr. will also meet with Indian President Draupadi Murmu, as well as lead a series of business engagements in New Delhi and Bengaluru. These meetings aim to boost partnerships in key sectors and encourage greater participation of Indian firms in the Philippine economy.
Dateline Malacañang.
In the meantime, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Tuesday arrived at Rashtrapati Bhavan, the ceremonial house of Indian President Draupadi Murmu, to begin his state visit in India. President Marcos received arrival honors and was warmly welcomed by Murmu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The presidents held bilateral discussions and other engagements to strengthen ties between the two countries. According to President Marcos, his visit reaffirms the Philippines and India's long-standing alliance and partnership.
Today, our relationship enters a new epoch as Prime Minister Modi and I formally launched the strategic partnership between Philippines and India. For the Philippines, this is a momentous decision, for we take a very considered path to such elevated partnerships. This new apex attests as much to the remarkably rapid growth, broadening and deepening of our 75-year-old bilateral relationship, the possibilities represented by the strong upward trajectory of our two economies, as it does to the growing alignment of our interests and views on the challenges and imperatives of our time.
After their discussion, President Marcos and Modi presented to the media the recently inked agreements between the two countries. This is day 2 of the President's 5-day visit to strengthen ties with the South Asian nation through a new strategic alliance. On Monday, the President declared that the Philippines and India will raise their bilateral relations to strategic partnership. President Marcos's visit marks the 75th anniversary of India-Philippines diplomatic relations. Following his engagements in New Delhi, the President will go to Bangalore India's technological hub to meet with corporate executives.
Dateline Malacañang.
Following high-level talks with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. announced on Tuesday that the Philippines and India will accelerate efforts to establish a bilateral preferential trade agreement and expand two-way investment. The commitment comes as the two countries officially establish their strategic partnership, marking the 75th anniversary of diplomatic relations between the Philippines and India.
The economic sphere has been a steady engine driving our ties for 7+ decades. True to our strategic partnership, Prime Minister Modi and I have charged our economic teams to shepherd our commerce, now at the $3.3 billion in the last year, towards a continued upward trajectory and expanded baskets of goods. To this end, we have decided to expedite the work that we are doing to forge a bilateral preferential trade agreement. We looked at leveraging mutual opportunities to boost two-way investment. Our fast-growing, innovative private enterprises will play an important role in our common march towards progress and development, facilitating innovation, technology transfer, and upskilling, and generating employment for our people.
India, the world's fourth largest economy, plays a significant role in global technology, medicines, and digital innovation. Modi pledged a free e-visa for Filipino travelers, while President Marcos stated that direct flights between Manila and New Delhi would resume in October this year. These changes are expected to strengthen people-to-people connections and business travel.
Prime Minister Modi and I have committed to bring our collaboration to bear on shared concerns: a free, open, and inclusive Indo-Pacific region, security and rule of law in the maritime commons, supply chain resilience, food security, countering terrorism, and other traditional and non-traditional threats.
The two heads of state also issued a commemorative stamp to mark 75 years of diplomatic ties between the Philippines and India, reaffirming their support for Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN centrality and a free and open Indo-Pacific.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. said his present state visit to India is one of his most productive and constructive, despite just having completed the second day of his 5-day journey aimed at boosting ties with one of Asia's giants. President Marcos made the comment Tuesday during a meeting with his counterpart, President Draupadi Murmu, at Rashtrapati Bhavan. The Philippine president complimented the Indian government for the kind reception provided to him and his group and emphasized the two countries' flourishing friendship. The president said that he was much inspired by the outcomes of their high-level discussions and was anxious to implement the accomplishments and carry forward the plans and initiatives that both sides agreed to. President Marcos credited the engagement's success to the enduring closeness between the Philippines and India, stating that even in such a short period of time, both countries had discovered a multitude of possibilities and areas of potential. These comments came on day 2 of his 5-day state visit.
Thank you for this very gracious and elegant welcome that you have prepared for me and for my delegation. Like my father before me, I will always cherish this state visit as living proof of our shared desire to draw closer to each other. I am much inspired by our meetings that we held today. I look forward to bringing home the gains from our engagements and carry forward the plans and initiatives that both sides have agreed to and to pursue through the plan of action. May the roots of friendship continue to deepen mabuhay, and maraming salamat. I have to say that we did not expect to cover much ground because we had very little time that we have had here. But I am happy to be able to report that that was certainly not the case. And has been one of my most productive and constructive visits that I have ever had. And I attribute this to the enduring closeness between the Philippines and India. And in the time that we have had here, short as it was, we have discovered a multitude of possibilities and areas of potential. And we are going to work very hard together with our counterparts in the Indian government and leadership to make all of these come to fruition to the benefit for all our peoples, both Indian and Filipino.
That was Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. headed to India's southern city of Bengaluru on Thursday morning, marking the second part of his 5-day state visit to India following a productive 3-day leg in the Indian capital of New Delhi. The plane carrying the Philippine president and his delegation left Palam Air Force Station and arrived at the Kempe Gowda International Airport about an hour later. The president was welcomed by Minister and Consul General Maria Cynthia Pelayo along with Honorary Consul General Ashwin Muthia. President Marcos so far described his inaugural visit to India as remarkably productive, citing very openness and the willingness from both sides to develop and deepen collaboration. While in New Delhi, President Marcos met with President Draupadi Murmu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, with both countries agreeing to elevate bilateral ties to a strategic partnership. The president also oversaw the signing of key agreements on defense, maritime cooperation, health, tourism, space research, and digital technology, among others. President Marcos addressed Indian business leaders, engaged with Filipino community members, and delivered a foreign policy speech at the Observer Research Foundation, where he underscored the importance of forging coalitions with like-minded states to uphold peace and international law in the Indo-Pacific. In a televised interview with India's First Post, President Marcos bared that the Philippines is in the process of acquiring more BrahMos supersonic missiles from India as part of its military modernization program. The president is expected to meet with tech and innovation leaders in Bengaluru as the Philippines looks to deepen cooperation in digital transformation and emerging technologies. Bengaluru is often referred to as the Silicon Valley of India due to its thriving technology industry and startup ecosystem.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday made a strong pitch to Indian business leaders, citing the country's robust economic momentum, a young, tech-savvy workforce, and wide-ranging reforms aimed at making the Philippines more attractive to long-term foreign investment. Speaking before top executives at the Philippines-India Business Forum, the president said the Philippines and India are strategically aligned across key sectors, from digital innovation and renewable energy to healthcare and semiconductors, and invited Indian firms to partner in building shared prosperity in the Indo-Pacific. President Marcos added that the government is committed to supporting foreign investors with a stable regulatory environment and incentives of up to 27 years. In a wide-ranging address, President Marcos also spotlighted the Philippines' digital economy, which is projected to exceed 40 billion US dollars by 2030, and its consistent gross domestic product or GDP growth of 5.7% last year. The chief executive likewise proposed the start of formal talks for a Philippines-India preferential trade agreement to deepen two-way trade and diversify product flows. The Bengaluru Forum brought together Indian and Filipino leaders from sectors such as information technology and business process management or IT-BPM, fintech, telecoms, digital services, pharmaceuticals, healthcare, manufacturing, and infrastructure, many of which saw new agreements inked during the visit.
Our young, skilled, English-speaking workforce continues to attract global investment, making us a preferred destination for talent. And our policy direction is very clear: to make the Philippines a trusted, connected, and competitive node in the Indo-Pacific economy. This is the spirit of our administration's Bagong Pilipinas vision, a new Philippines that enables innovation, drives inclusive growth, and welcomes partners who share our aspirations for prosperity and for progress. To realize this vision, we are laying a strong foundation for long-term, high-quality investment. We have vigorously pursued critical structural reforms that make the Philippines a more attractive and more reliable destination for capital, for technology, and for talent. To our esteemed Indian partners, I want to assure you that the Philippine government stands ready to embrace your investments with open arms and with continuing and unwavering support. Ladies and gentlemen, what we are building here is not just another bilateral program. It is a powerful platform for long-term strategic convergence, one that recognizes our strengths, aligns our ambitions, and delivers tangible results for our people. So let's move forward. Let's do it with confidence, with resolve, and with a spirit of camaraderie. Let us seize this moment to make bold, future-ready decisions. Let us demonstrate that when India and the Philippines work together, we do not just exchange goods. We build prosperity, we transfer knowledge, and we lead with purpose. To all our partners here today, we are ready. We can make it happen together.
As Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has renewed the Philippines' commitment to uphold the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN's principles and push for regional development. In a video message for the 58th ASEAN founding anniversary uploaded on state-run Radio Television Malacañang on Friday, the President said, the Philippines will uphold ASEAN principles and continue the region's legacy of lasting peace and shared progress as we navigate our future together. The Philippines, along with Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, and Thailand, signed on August 8, 1967, the ASEAN Declaration, which stipulates the regional bloc's collaboration and cooperation in pursuit of economic prosperity and regional peace and stability. The other ASEAN member states are Brunei Darussalam, Cambodia, Lao People's Democratic Republic, Myanmar, and Vietnam. President Marcos emphasized the Philippines' role in laying the foundation for a region anchored on peace, cooperation, shared progress, and prosperity. The Philippines is coordinating with Malaysia, the current chair of the 10-member regional bloc, in preparation for the country's hosting of the ASEAN meetings in 2026. President Marcos acknowledged that under Malaysia's chairship, ASEAN is steered by the themes of inclusivity and sustainability. Let us listen to the message of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
On behalf of the Philippines and the Filipino people, I extend warm greetings to all ASEAN citizens on the occasion of the 58th founding anniversary of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. We take pride in the Philippines' role more than 5 decades ago when we laid the foundation for a region anchored on peace, cooperation, shared progress, and prosperity. Guided by the purpose and principles of ASEAN enshrined in its charter, we have stood together in navigating evolving regional and global challenges over the years. Through solidarity and dialogue, we have also fostered mutually beneficial partnerships, and we have advanced initiatives that uplift the lives of peoples and communities. This year, under Malaysia's chairship, ASEAN is steered by the themes of inclusivity and sustainability. This reflects not only the enduring aspirations of our region, but also the shared responsibilities that we must embrace in today's dynamic and complex global environment. As the Philippines assumes the ASEAN chairship in 2026, we will build on ASEAN's achievements in responding to the region's evolving priorities and facing emerging challenges. We will uphold ASEAN principles and continue the region's legacy of lasting peace and shared progress as we navigate our future together.
Largest economy sustains positive growth and continues to demonstrate economic resilience with a growth of 4.7% in 2024. The bloc's total trade in goods reached $3.5 trillion in 2024, while foreign direct investment or FDI also surged to $229.8 billion, cementing the region's position as a top investment destination among developing economies, according to the region's annual report.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service is now live on audio streaming. Just download eVox PBS receiver on your Google Play Store or the App Store from your Apple phone. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Just type in and search for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our post as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang in Review. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.